Hey, everybody. It's Robin Smith here, and I'm the founder of the Healthy Relationship Sisterhood. And thanks so much for joining me today. We are talking about creating balance in your relationship life. And I want to share some stories from my life and tie that back together with what this bigger picture of balance and what it looks like and the different aspects of that. So, but first, a little yoga philosophy, and it's all going to come together here. So in yoga, there is a concept called spanda, S-P-A-N-D-A, and spanda means pulsation or vibration. And it speaks to the greater pulsation of the universe, and all things and all matter is essentially pulsing with life. Even if it seems inanimate, like a cup, it actually has energy moving in it. And we know from physics that there's something called string theory that identifies this kind of this movement inside the material matter. So, and the yoga philosophy says that this movement, this vibration has a pulsation to it. It contracts and expands. It's constantly contracting and expanding. And because we are life beings in the universe, we are also contracting and expanding constantly. And if you think about the pulse of your heartbeat, there is that contraction and expansion. And of course, the lungs go with that, and we exhale out and we inhale, breath in. So we have a natural pulsation in us all the time, and we can feel a vibration sometimes in our bodies, tingling. And this pulsation of life energy. And in yoga, we call that prana, your life force. So hoping you can hear me. I'm just going to check my mic. Okay, we're good. I had a mic issue earlier. So in our daily life, we can see pulsation. We see the pulsation of or the contraction and expansion of our own rhythms throughout the day. We may feel more expanded in the morning and more contracted in the evening, and that would be a normal pulsation for most of us. And there's a health to that, right? We don't want to be expanded all night long, or else we couldn't sleep. So with that contractive energy, even though we may have a negative connotation to contraction, it actually is positive, because we need to contract to kind of turn in, withdraw, and go to sleep and heal and repair, right, our tissues. So the contractive energy is just as valuable as the expansive energy. So you might relate expansive energy in your body to like more energy, to more joy, to more kind of energy out. And the contractive energy is kind of withdrawing, a turning in, and getting more quiet. And both are important, right? So we want to keep this in mind when we turn towards our relationships. But first, a little bit more. So you may not have seen me here for a while, because I had a lot of expansive energy going out. I was doing my challenge. I followed it with some master classes. I was in the group regularly, putting out emails a lot. And that was a lot of energy out for me. And I'm kind of an introvert. So, and then after that, we just came back from 2 weeks in Los Angeles. And many of you know I live in Costa Rica now, but we just moved here in January, February. So we came back to go through our storage unit again. And it was kind of like moving all over, like unpacking everything. What do we have? What do we need? Do we bring it now? Do we let it go? And we sold some stuff and donated a bunch, and saved some for later. So it's a big process. So a lot of, for me, expansion. So I've also been kind of balancing that with some contractive energy, with not being on social media very much, with taking naps a lot, sleeping in as much as I can, not being very social. So for me, that was how I tried to strike a balance with all of that expansive energy. And so as you hear me, I'm curious if you want to put in the comments how you resonate with that. How do you balance those two, the energy out and the energy in? So we all need this pulsation, and you can think of even the universe has a pulsation, or let's bring it down to our earth. Our earth has a pulsation because, well, the day and the night. So we have the sun seems to rise, right? We have the expansive energy and then the contractive energy of the night when the sun goes down and the moon comes up. And then we also have, oops, my power is flickering, so hopefully I'm not losing you. We also have our rhythms of our seasonal rhythms, right? So the winter time is more contractive. It's that time to pull inward, to get internal. It's the time that the plants pull the energy down into the earth, into the roots. And then in spring, we get more expanded again. The plants put out their leaves. And of course, in the summer is the most highly expansive time when there's a lot of energy. Maybe we're traveling a lot. We're having more fun. We're playing. We're going new places. We're backpacking, hiking, whatever we like to do. And then in the fall, we start coming back in and we maybe get more into a normal routine. And then we move towards winter where the days are shorter. And so I just want you to keep this kind of normal rhythm in mind, and also to keep in mind that our culture and this kind of, capitalistic culture and this fast-paced culture that we're in doesn't really support that very much. There's a lot of go, do more, go faster, be better, be smarter, be more rich, all those things that are very much encouraging an outward energy, right? And a lot of expansion, and it's not sustainable. So we can't sustain expansive energy or we burn ourselves out. So we need and require for inner balance the contractive energy. We need to pull in, we need to get quiet, we need to replenish ourselves, repair our tissues, all those internal things, not only for the body, but for the mind. So that's what I've been up to, and exploring my own needs for quiet time or just downtime or getting to bed early and whatnot, and a little less social media time. And then I want to extrapolate this into our relationships, because relationships have seasons as well. There's times in our relationship when we're expanding together. There's a lot of growth. There's a lot of maybe activity. Maybe you're running around traveling together, or both of you are working a lot. And there's also a season of pulling in and coming, into more quiet time or internal time. And sometimes we do that together, and sometimes we might do that apart. And so the difference is pretty individual, I think. So you may know the terms introvert and extrovert. And an introvert takes their replenishment by going inward. Those things I've been talking about, getting quiet, maybe self-care, time alone. And an extrovert replenishes him or herself by socializing, by connecting with people. So we're not all the same in how we might expand or contract and how we might replenish. And so it's really important to consider that when you're in a relationship and people have different needs for how they want to do that. One person might want more. I was talking to someone the other day about this. Their partner wants to have more alone time together, like, date time and like hiking time or time in bed or whatever it might be. And the other person might want more social time together, more adventure time, more parties and festivals and, trips. And so we have our different rhythms and our different needs. And it's so important for the health of you and for the health of your relationship to find your balance. And obviously for some couples, that's harder when they're really different. They're on different ends of the spectrum in their needs. So I'd love to know what happens for you, what your thoughts are as you're hearing me, and any questions you might have. And I'm coming into the chat, not seeing anything at the moment, so I'll come back later. And if you're watching the replay, you can put #replay and I'll come find you. So how do we get to this place where we have a rhythm that works for us, or where we have a balance that feels right, that feels harmonious and easeful? For one, I'm going to suggest the main thing for a couple is to have a conversation about it and to simply name our differences. You want more alone time than me, or you want more alone time with me. I want more social time with you, or I want more social time without you. So what are the needs that you each have, and where can you find that place in the middle where both of your needs are getting met? Because if we each just meet our own needs, we might find ourselves growing further apart. And if you want the relationship to work, if that's important to you, then there obviously needs to be some compromise, some coming together. Okay, you might want to go out, but I'll be willing to stay in with you one night a week, or whatever, 4 nights a week. And then I'd like you to come out with me one night a week. So where can we, find that happy medium where we can both meet our own needs for contraction and expansion, and then meet that within the relationship, so the relationship feels supportive to both of us. So that's a lot of what I wanted to say. I'm going to look and see if I had more. I'm just checking. I like to write some notes before I come on. Yeah, I'd love to know what works for you. Like, are you in a relationship where you need more alone time than your partner, or vice versa? Are you someone who wants more together time and is missing that? Sometimes you both want the same thing and you're just not creating it. I've talked to many couples who want more time together, but they're both so busy filling their time with work or other obligations, childcare, other friendships, that they don't actually carve out enough time for the relationship. And then that's a problem. So this balance is really about continuing to check in, because just like we have our own internal rhythms, the relationship has its own rhythm. So there may be, maybe the first year you're more expansive together and you're doing a lot, and then you start kind of slowing down together or coming in, or maybe you have another period where you're expanding again and you're learning a lot together. And then maybe you need to kind of simplify your lives and withdraw. So the relationship can have its own pulsation over the years, and some of that will be based on your age. Some of it will be based on your own introversion, extroversion rhythms. And some of it will be based on just this, like the growth of the relationship and what the relationship requires as a unit over time. So that's about all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening. And I will let you know that I have a couple spots for individual coaching and one spot in my group, which is a group called Rock Your Relationship Immersion Program. And that's open right now. So if you're interested in more continuing support from me, where you can get my expert attention on your relationship and on the trauma that keeps you from being able to connect and receive love and communicate clearly and get your needs met and set healthy boundaries and things like that, I would be happy to support you. And I do offer a free one-on-one consultation where we can look at, what's going on for you and whether my service is a good fit. So I'm going to put a link in the chat for you to grab a session on my calendar right now. So this is called the Relationship Breakthrough Session, and it's an opportunity to sit down with me on Zoom one-on-one and really look at what you're struggling with and where you want to get to. And we map out a plan for you to get there. And then we can certainly talk about whether working together further is a good fit. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. It is free, and it's an opportunity to get some attention for what's going on for you, and even a great takeaway for how you can move forward. So I look forward to seeing some of you there, and there are a few spots on my calendar. And thanks for watching. And please let me know in the comments what you're thinking about what I've shared today. And I'd love to have a dialogue with you. All right, take care. I hope to see you very soon. Bye-bye.